It's almost midnight. A mother sits in a parked car outside a brightly lit building, waiting. Inside, her son is finishing his fourth class of the day. She's been driving him between schools since the afternoon. She's tired. He's exhausted. And tomorrow, they'll do it all again. From the outside, it's easy to judge. Why would any parent push a child this hard? But lean closer, and you'll find something that complicates the whole story. This mother doesn't think she's being harsh. She thinks she's protecting him. To understand Korean education, you have to understand the people quietly powering all of it. Not cruel parents, but frightened, loving ones. Part 1, Meet the mother behind the student. You know Jaewon. Now meet the person who carries his schedule in her head. His mother. In Korea, there's a term for her role, so common it became its own phrase. Chima baram. Literally, the wind of the skirt. It describes a mother sweeping through her child's education. Managing tutors, schedules, meals, and exams. She's sometimes called a manager mother. And it's often mothers who carry this weight, while fathers fund it from the background. She cuts her own sleep. She cuts her own spending. And even then, she lies awake wondering if she's doing enough. This isn't a hobby, or vanity. In her mind, she is building her child's entire future with her bare hands. Part 2, IT starts with love. Here's the part outsiders miss. Underneath all the pressure is something deeply ordinary, love. Korean parents aren't pushing because they don't care. They're pushing because they care almost too much. In Korean culture, deeply shaped by Confucian values, a family's success is shared. A child's achievement lifts everyone. Parents routinely sacrifice their own comfort for their children's future. And see that sacrifice as simply what a good parent does. So when a Korean parent pays for one more hagwon, or sits up at midnight in that car, they're not thinking, I want a trophy. They're thinking, I will give you everything I have. So your life is easier than mine. That's not cruelty. That's love, poured through a very narrow funnel. Part 3, and then comes the fear. But love alone doesn't explain the intensity. The other half is fear. Remember the latter, the belief that one exam, one ranking, decides a life. For a parent, that belief becomes terrifying. Because if everything depends on the climb, then to not push feels like letting your child fall. Researchers have a clinical name for the engine underneath all this. Status externality. It means parents don't measure their child against some fixed standard. They measure their child against everyone else's children. And that changes everything. It means there's no finish line. No score is ever safe, because safety is defined by other people's kids. And they're all studying too. So the fear becomes self-fueling. If your neighbor's child takes 3 classes, yours takes 4. Opting out isn't seen as relaxed. In hyper-competitive Korea, it can feel like setting your child up to fail. Part 4, a promise that's quietly breaking. For older generations, the bargain was real and reliable. Study hard, climb the ladder, and life will reward you. For decades, in a fast-growing Korea, that promise largely held. But here's the painful part. That promise is no longer as certain as it was. As the country matured, moving up the ladder got harder. A good degree no longer guarantees the secure life it once did. And parents increasingly sense those odds slipping. Now sit in that mother's seat for a moment. The path is more crowded and less certain than ever. And yet she can't bring herself to stop. Because a fading promise still feels safer than no plan at all. So she pushes harder on a door that's slowly closing. Hoping her child slips through before it shuts. It's not foolish. It's heartbreaking. Part 5, the trap no one chose. So let's put the whole picture together. A mother who loves fiercely. A culture that turns that love into sacrifice. A ladder that makes stopping feel like falling. And a system where everyone is judged against everyone else. Now ask the real question. What single parent could escape that, alone? If she stops, and the others don't. It's her child who pays. So she doesn't stop. And neither does the next parent. Or the next. Millions of individual acts of love. Adding up to a pressure no single family ever wanted to create. The parents aren't the villains of this story. They're caught in it, just like their kids. Everyone can see the trap. No one can be the first to step out of it. Ending. So why do Korean parents push so hard? Not because they're cold. But because they're loving, frightened people. Trying to do right by their children inside a system that punishes anyone who lets go. It's love and fear, pointed in the same direction. And aimed, with everything they have, at a single exam. We started this series asking why Korean students study so much. The fuller answer is this. Behind every child studying past midnight is usually a parent lying awake, terrified of failing them. Which leaves one last question, maybe the hardest of all. If even the people inside it wish it were different, who, exactly, has the power to change it?